Alabi is looking far into the distance, recalling her old memories with her grandfather. She is traveling through Northumbria State, approximately 850 cells of state capital Halyask, with her fellow soldiers to transport relief goods to the Halyask. Just then, they come across enemies but manage to destroy them. They then report to Commander Dren about the situation. After getting a green light from the commander, they continue their journey. During the march, Ivano and Tak talked among themselves, being the delivery boys even after being the Zamurian continent's largest Jaeger Corps. They talked about reaching Halyask by the next day if they continue their journey with the same pace. Ivano tells Tak that he has been dying to eat hot northern borscht for a while now. They talk about how they are not gaining much experience beating up scrubs with the greenhorns. Both Ivano and Tak complain that Lavi has been already appointed on the battle lines even as an escort mission too early after only half a year, and that they had to clean the washrooms for half a year. Both start to throw small-sized snowballs at Labi, who is walking ahead of them, but she manages to dodge all the hits one by one. They tell her that she is being disciplined for slacking off on her drills. They then decide to attack her with a bigger snowball from behind, but just then she attacks them with snowballs. They scold her for disrespecting them, but she continues to attack them. Just then, the chief warns them of an attack from behind. Just in time, Labi braces herself and shoots down the enemy. Commander Dren asks the deputy commander to let go off the scene as they still manage to protect themselves. Ivano and Tak complain that Commander Dren enlisted at the same time as them but he is acting all bossy. They then brag that they could outrank him in a heartbeat if they want to. Ivano then mocks Tak that he has been in the army for the last 8 years but he's still delivering goods for the missions. They then complain that they need such tight security for delivering their relief goods. They then propose the reason is maybe because Arabonia and cavalry are intervening. He then proceeds to talk about annexation of Cross Bell. They complain that if they knew that joining battle lines would be this boring, that they would have volunteered for the recon cops. Tak informs him that the mission is led by Rogan and the radicals, and they are totally warmongers. Ivano tells Tak that he wants battles to be filled with suspense and thrill and that he wishes to encounter life and death situations. Tak warns Ivano that wherever Rogan goes, there is no sign of monsters, people, or even vegetation left behind. That is why he is called the Aurora phenomenon. The pair tells Lavi that Rogan holds the most power in the Jaeger Corps and that some of the young'uns are even calling it the birth of the new hero. He further tells her that the Northern Jaegers are more than 10,000 in number under Master Glark and that only Rogan can go against their boss at this moment. Just then, Lavi finds fresh holes in a distance, and the three of them decide to investigate the situation. They follow the marks without reporting to their senior and come across drones. Commander Dren halts the forces upon seeing the situation. Just then, a small village is attacked by the drones, but Lavi and the other two just arrive in time to save the people from the attack. People hide in their homes to avoid the confrontation. All the forces now fight together to save the people. Some of the people of the village are infected from the drone's venom and are in need of antidotes, which is only available in Halyask. Commander Dren then orders his men to carry the wounded to their vehicle, and that they will accompany them to Halyask to save their time. While investigating the patterns of drones, they come to know that drones are running away from something deep in the forest. Just then, they hear the growls of a monster and are attacked by it. The monster attacks Commander Dren, who is now injured. The deputy commander orders them to retreat to the church and attack the monster to save everyone and help rescue the commander. Labi defies the commander's orders and attacks the monster. Ivano reminds her that they are ordered to fall back, but she continues in her way. After that, both Ivano and Tak decide to help Labi to buy villagers some time to escape the situation. The monster throws Lavi away into the distance, and soon Ivano and Tak run out of their weapons. Just then, Labi picks up her sword and slashes the monster by her blade. She travels up to the monster's head and stabs him right between his head with the help of her sword. The monster then collapses down, and Labi is scolded by Ivano and Tak for taking such a risk. Labi then mocks the pair that it was them who were asking for suspense and thrill earlier. The group continues their journey after the attack, and some arrive in Northumbria, the state capital of Halyask. The Jaeger Corps is welcomed by the citizens warmly. They then help wounded people to the hospital and take the relief packages to the state office. The citizens are then informed that they will be only provided with wheat and that they should visit headquarters for further supplies. Back at the state government legislative palace, Lavi, Ivano, and Tak write reports of their misconduct for not following the orders of their superior Commander Dren. Commander Dren asks for their written reports of the misconduct. The group submits their reports to the commander and complains how they have to pay a fine with their 3 months of salary. Labi is worried for the commander's injuries but reassures her about his condition, saying that the medic staff went overboard with the bandages. He also informs them that he will not be joining them on the front lines for some time. Just then, a pair of government officials arrives in a luxury car and passes by them with a scowl on their face. The group finds it rude and comments how the officials are able to live the luxury life only because they are able to protect them. Ivano and Tak then complain that they got salaries cut to help her and tell her that she owes them some hot northern borscht. They also invite the commander, but he declines the offer, saying that he has some work to handle. Ivano complains, saying that he is not coming alone because he also wants to enjoy the expensive cuisine in the palace. Just before leaving, the commander calls for Labi and tells her to take care of the other two, jokingly. The three of them then visit famous Liberation Square arcade and its stalls. Ivano brags that the stalls are just as grand as the ones in Hemedal or in Urbonia. They ask Lavi if it's her first time visiting the Liberation Square. Labi answers, saying that she only saw the place from afar. Ivano promises to give her a personal tour of the place. Lavi takes a tour of the stalls and sees different kinds of foods and toys on different stalls. She then tries on a green color hat for herself. All of them then look at the maps of the state and mimic some famous posters and wall paintings. Lavi then orders and pays for the hot northern borscht, and the pair is ecstatic to see the food they love. The sour taste of the dish topped with the sweetness of the vegetables fills their stomachs. Seeing their reaction, the chef boasts that they have the best borscht in Halyask and asks the men if Lavi is also a part of the Jaeger Corps. Tak answers him by saying that she is better in combat and battlefield than the two of them. While eating the food, some villagers approach them and tell them that due to the recent weather conditions, the price of everything is rising. They tell them that they are making ends meet hardly with the help of relief supplies, but the conditions are worse in the countryside. They tell them that they heard another village was attacked by the monster and inform them that the villagers are unable to fight against the monsters. Even moving to the next settlement is difficult for them. They tell them that they are worried about everything that is going on and that they do not trust the government officials anymore, who are living luxurious lives while the people are starving on the roads. People request them to help them out, and they do their best to protect the people. Just then, they see a family from the village that is in the city to get antidote. They follow the grandmother and her granddaughter around. The old woman tells them that it's her granddaughter's first time visiting the city. The young girl plays around with Lavi. The granny tells them that her daughter and her husband are now stable thanks to the antidote. She tells them that she never expected that Liberation Square would one day become an arcade. The pair asks the granny if she ever visited Halyask before in the past. The granny tells them that the place really changed in the last 27 years and now has become a memorial. The granny tells them that it's not a surprise that young'uns do not know much about the memorial and Liberation Square. She tells them that Northumbria used to be a principality state with a prosperous shipping industry. It wasn't a poor country in any way or form. The country was doing well until a massive white pillar, tall enough to pierce the sky, appeared out of nowhere. It is later called the Northumbrian disaster or the Salt Pail Incident. She further tells that during the disaster, everything, including people and land, turned into white clumps of salt. Seeing the situation, the prince fled the country, and riots became a commonplace. She tells them that she also ran as far as possible from the city to protect herself and her daughter from the disaster. She tells them that she walked towards the south for days and days to protect her daughter, but even after all the struggle, she was close to losing all hope. That is when some people stood up against the riots and the chaos and started a revolution, and these became heroes because of the revolution. She tells them that the memorial symbolizes the new birth of Umbria and that it was because of those heroes that she is still alive. Tak tells her that it was later that the same people formed Northern Jaegers to help the people. Ivano inquires if their boss is also part of the revolution. To answer the question, Tak tells him that even the kids know about the heroes of the revolution. After that, the granny encourages her granddaughter Miju to give Lavi what she bought for her. Miju gives her a doll that is wearing similar uniforms as her and thanks her for saving her father, mother, and granny. Lavi accepts the gift and thanks her gratefully. The granny and Miju pay their respects and leave the place. The group also decides to continue their tour. Just then, the memorial is surrounded by Rogan and his men. Rogan comes out of the vehicle, and people are surprised to see him back in Halyask. Upon seeing him, Ivano shouts loud to accept him in the Phenomenon Squad. Tak shuts him up by saying that they are radicals. Just then, both of them are taken down by the Phenomenon Squad. Rogan makes his way to Lavi and asks her about the situation of the endemic season of wheat. Lavi is surprised to hear that Rogan knows about the endemic region of her village. Rogan tells her that he knows about her grandfather Vlad Winslet, who was once a part of the revolution but later abandoned Northumbria. He also tells her that he knows that she is his granddaughter, Lavian Winslet. At the same time, people gathered at the square chant his name out loud. Rogan gives a speech and tells the people that old heroes are dead now and that they have abandoned Erebonia. He tells them that they have been facing harsh weather and poverty for a long time now, and that if they are invaded by foreign troops, they can hardly manage to stand against them. He tells people that Calvert has lost to Erebonia, which leaves everyone in shock. He tells them that it's time for a new revolution and that he will become the strength and hope to take on Erebonia. Upon hearing the words, all the people once again chant his name out